respects it, they win with it. Like they are by far better at that, right?
They got
like,
much more reserve.
that is why they rose to the top of Korea, is because their macrogram was just that much better. So if MVP Black can bait them into this, just fight us, then I give it to MVP Black.
Gotcha. So we're going to have to see which battleground we're going to, and we'll find out momentarily what the map is going to be.
The fall set's an exception because we saw that on Tomb and it worked out successfully. Sure. You know, it was committed to the 4, but suddenly anytime it's going to be that watch our side soaking global, like it's going to fall apart.
So does Zagara or Dahaka play? If that comes out from MVP Black, you think they're going to falter, which makes a lot of sense. The Tyrael obviously has been a dramatic point for both of our teams. I actually wouldn't mind seeing MVP Black walking in here, even if it's Tassadar let go and just ban it out. Now, to be fair, Tassadar and Tracer for L5 has been a solid pickup for them in the past.
Well, MVP Black gets to decide whether or not they want first pick or whether they want the map pick because they just lost. So in theory, they can say, we want first pick, which they did, which means L5 has to decide what they want to go into, which now means, in theory, if the tier is the problem, L5 is the one who has to say, you know, how big of a problem is it?
So we are going to Infernal Shrines. All the maps that were left was Warhead Junction, Sky Temple, and Infernal Shrines. So no matter what, MVP Black was in a spot where they had to play the macro game. I think there is a case in point to say you don't have to play the macro game as much on Infernal Shrines as you would on Warhead Junction and Sky Temple, but still it's a threat they have to deal with. But regardless, they will walk away with the first pick, and we'll see what they will be moving into.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Infernal Shrines, man. It's odd
to me because in Europe, where we cast, this is a battleground where it's constantly being picked up, but it seems to be kind of neglected a bit.
It used to be across the world, actually. It was the most picked map in every region for a long while, and then it kind of died out in certain parts, and then it's gotten resurrected within Europe, but not so much in like North America, for instance. And obviously now for Korea, it's not unpopular, but it isn't, you know, it's not the go-to the way it used to be. It used to be every single game MVP Black would go to it. But L5 feels very comfortable here, picking it very frequently, not only within the region, but you got something to say about that Tyrael first pick, huh?
Yeah, there he is, man. And so far it has been, if you have Tyrael, you have won the video game. So that will be the pickup for MVP Black. To the left, we have our Malfurion probably available. Now, do you grab the fall set here? There are moments that you got to think about. You have Kerrigan floating around. I think if Kerrigan goes over to MVP Black with him having Tyrael, they can be quite the aggressors, especially with their chaotic style they've been playing. Yeah, no, I agree.
I think that I do wonder if the Kerrigan's the smart commitment. It's going to be standard, man. It's just Malf Murden. It's the Day of Warriors, you know, here. Like with the ETC removed and Tyrael, everybody is so panicked to be able to get their hands there onto the Murden. Comfort, you know, here for the Korean region. Also, these players, you know, Noble is kind of making his career, or starting it at least, there on that hero. So, MVP Black, very little data when it comes to them drafting on Infernal Shrines. Most recently, only against E-Star. They did end up picking Dahaka and Arthas there. Not going to be the case, obviously, considering they have a Tyrael, so they have a couple of areas they can move into. My thought is, you know, do we bust out the Lunar here? Does she have any kind of...
I think I'd rather have Odin Tychus rather than Lunara.
You just picked the Zeratul, right?
Yeah.
GG Nori.
Should have come in, especially with that Ragnaros being locked in.
Hey, there it is. They backed out to their comfort here. MVP Black. That being said, I do not remember the interesting fact that Gilly actually was able to provide. I think it was that this was ran 7 times undefeated, Ragnaros Zeratul together, whenever MVP Black ran it, except for the one time they ran it into E-Star. They actually lost one of those games. And so they're sitting at near undefeated with it, but they are showing they're mortal.
Gods can bleed. Ragnaros and Zeratul, so we now have the green eggs and slam. We're gonna make it go, Dread. You have to sell it. Come on, give me the sell.
Can't do it.
The green eggs and slam coming in here for MVP Black. You know what? The more I say it, the more I don't like it. You know, the first time I heard it, I was like, you know, this could be legit. Not so much anymore.
So you're falling out of favor?
I'm starting to fall out of favor, well. You know? After you say something 3 or 4 times, if you don't like it anymore, it usually dies out. Well, Ariel will be banned out. Now over to the other side, we have Muradin and Malfurion. Do you ban out Zarya here?
Ooh. Actually,
the
Vala ban.
Wow.
I would have considered maybe Tychus. With the power, I don't know. You know, with the power that we've seen, I don't know. Okay, let me think about this. With just the power that MVP Black has kind of shown on that, More than anything, actually, I think Falstad would be my go-to, because then there's no way I would panic and move into the Dahaka. That being said, Kyoto's got to be on that Zeratul, so never mind. We're fine, you know, pulling away from that. MVP Black a bit more successful. So, what do you rid of? Yeah, I think my first thought is going to be the Zarya. I think I agree with you there. Or unless I have heavy fear of the Kerrigan, which I wouldn't with my kind of draft that I have. 2 counter momentum heroes like Tyrael and Zeratul.
Yeah, Tyrael, you're set up for Ragnaros to a degree. If he doesn't get combo, he just turns around and drops that Q on top of Kerrigan, and she is just hurting for days. So on the left side, Gul'dan is still an option here, and I think he's great on this battleground. We've seen L5 run Gul'dan more often than not. Tempest is usually the Korean team that is more willing to venture into Gul'dan. But he's actually great for clear on this battleground. We're going to go for Reset City, though, with Greymane and Li Ming.
Yeah, and I like it. You know, Greymane's Flask build is significantly better on this map. You don't even have to commit full flash, just as long as you go for the increased explosion range to be able to allow you to get free poke. It's going to be able to enable that. That being said, Greymane's about as good as it gets when it comes to control. Lucio locked in here. You know, the Lucio typically we see with the pseudo support, which we kind of have a bit out of Tyrael, but more importantly than anything, you got the Zeratul pause button for 5 seconds to be able to allow perfect timing on the breaking it down, and with that sound barrier there, and then also Tyrael on top of it. So, I mean, and last pick is going to be the Tychus. MVP Black's got a little bit of everything they want right now.
Yeah.
The only difference is if that Lucio was Mouth. I think they have like their version of just absolute comfort, right?
Will be a great comp. You can handle the Muradin pressure coming your way. You have Tyrael for saves. Dahaka will be the last pick for L5, so they will elect to go for the global macro game.
All right. We got the draft. I've got to ask. We're at game 5. What do you think?
I look over to L5 a little bit more. I know you don't like Dahaka for MVP Black, but I like Dahaka on this battleground like no other.
That's just MVP Black. No,
yeah.
Objectively, I love L5's draft. The problem is what if they just get baited into fighting? We've seen them have that every time that MVP Black does not go with this, let's try and consider the macro ourselves, L5 goes, all right, let's fight. I'm ready to go blow for blow.
Let's brawl.
Dahaka's going to struggle in that department. You're going to get voided. You're going to have the the green eggs and whatever slam. No, yeah, we're going to see that combo coming out, and with the Tychus there, a lot of pressure when it comes to the Shrine. They have the Tyrael in their hands. They have so much playmaking potential that I feel like at first, objectively, I like L5's draft better. But I feel like so quickly they're going to get baited, and MVP Black's just going to be like, yeah, that's what we wanted. Time to battle, and they'll come out on top.
Normally, you look at a team, and you see moments where they're doubting themselves, and you're like, stop doubting yourself. Make a play.
Yeah.
For the first time in my time ever, saying something about a team, I want that question to pop up and say, what if we just did it? And they just move in for an aggressive macro play instead. Let someone die and keep moving forward. So, especially with the Dahaka being here. Dahaka just, again, that threat that always looms. He's always in the background. Because naturally, if you don't come in for that fight, Zeratul eventually has to peel away from that fight. Yeah. He eventually has to move towards there to match the Dahaka. He's probably one of the best clears for that. And also for Passive Soak, if you don't want to reveal where you are on the battleground so you can continue to be threatening, you can have Zeratul be cloaked still. So, just stay in lane, make Zeratul walk away from the fight, and there can be a moment where you then say, all right, let's do the Dahaka Brush Stalker and get into our engagement. Yeah. Be the one that dictates the fight.
Yeah, no, this is probably one of my favorite Game 5 drafts I've gotten to see in a very long while, because it hits a little bit of both teams have objectively very powerful, a bit of comfort, but also kind of a skill matchup, but not a direct counter to one another. A perfect, I can see this working, but I can also see this working, right? So it's a nice mix. And I think a lot of this is actually going to come down to Merryday. He's going to be on the Lucio. He's going to have a lot of pressure coming his way when it comes to Malfurion, the Muradin, the Dahaka flank, and this Greymane poke overall. I feel like if he is not on point and not very successful, and then also Kyoto on the Zeratul in his initiations and forcing, not letting that Dahaka macro play coming in, I really like where MVP Black's going, just based on L5 just so quickly taking the bait in some of the other games in the series.
Have we seen much Merryday Lucio in the past? Because I feel like he's one of those players that just plays super aggressive and posturing, and you have to be careful with that when it gets to Malfurion.
So originally, there was a lot of priority for him on heroes like Kharazim. Malfurion is probably one of his higher priority heroes as well. Lucio, we haven't gotten to see that much play. In this tournament, it seems like Kharazim's dropped off in value, and he's higher on the Lucio. That being said, greedy play. last time we saw him on the Lucio was just dancing around, like, because, you know, you get that accelerando going and you're moving so fast and then you're just like, you're baiting a couple people, like making big plays, and then Mary Day didn't have the off button of like, okay, I'm done baiting, and then he eventually ends up dying. So I would say it wasn't poor, but it definitely did not stand out to me as like his best hero.
Get ready. Game number 5, Championship Sunday. Who is going to the grand finals? MVP Black and L5 clashing here. Infernal Shrines winner decides who goes to grand finals. On the left in blue, it's gonna be L5. To the very far right in the red, MVP Black. How will these two teams clash? Who will walk away as a winner? It's been a heck of a series, Dredd.
It is, you know, significantly different outcome than I ever thought there would be. Though, you know, yeah, a little bit more. I think you put it the best. It's not where we are, but how we got here is something I don't think a lot of people would have projected for these teams. But either way, we've got both in these drafts a little bit of what they're best at, which is, I think, a really fitting, you know, summary to, you know, whoever wins this deserves to be at least the winner going into the grand finals. That being said, it's very likely we see them back-to-back going head-to-head there into the grand finals, but we'll see as it plays out here. Ragnar soaking up on top, and it's going to be a 5-man commitment for L5 committing to mid, but Dahaka and Jungha get a
big drag, big root, big kill.
That is going to be first blood. L5 coming out, you know, swinging. Tis now on the retreat. Mary Day as well, dancing around there. Kyocha not going to be committing yet, but now Dahaka is going to burrow right out here. So the opposite story of what we typically see here with MVP Black, especially when they have those skirmishing. They just are the most successful, or more successful at least, early game team it feels like so far.
And you have to be careful with that too. Dahaka is one of those heroes that can sit there a little bit longer in that middle lane compared to a top laner that would have to rotate. He just drops that brush talk. Even Black making a big mistake. Ain't getting picked off for it, but they move in for the aggressive play. Noblesse low on health. SESE getting picked off as well, but will be able to live for now.
That is a bit of a struggle when it comes to looking at Lucio. He's probably one of the best supports at getting like follow-up to CC and locking in a lot of kills, but he does struggle in the department with anybody with gap closers at all, right? So like, for instance, going with Li Ming, he's going to struggle. Greymane, not going to get that good of kills, especially as in Morgan form. Dahaka and Malfurion are really the only ones where his knockback movement speed advantages are really going to be abused. Tist, beautiful dodge there, is going to keep him alive. Almost 100% going to die in that situation if he had not dodged that. Now Nacho Jin going to trade into reset. Malf's going to just drop a Q, and we have our first Shrine phase.
First Shrine in the middle. Jungle Hot continues to stay on the top lane against that Ragnaros. Ragnaros will be the first to rotate if that is going to occur. No, Dahaka decides to be the one to move on in, so we're going to have all of L5 around the Shrine attempting to win it.
Look at that. Remember, every time L5 gets baited into taking the skirmish, not trying to abuse the macro, this is a perfect opportunity for them to do so. But they volunteer to commit here. Will they be successful? Will they change what we've seen so far? Level 4. Almost dead even when it comes to skeletal defenders. Kyocha, you know, questioning if he can posture up. Now he looks like he's going to make that move here. Sake's got a lot of damage. Noblesse goes in. He gets the stun onto Tis. Tis throws the Q out. Can he make it out? No, but his passive will blow up. Will Noblesse survive?
Nope.
Meanwhile, Jungha gets the burrow. Reset is going to put out that damage, and Kyocha trading in. But look at that. Nacho Jin responding with a kill himself.
SESE working on this reset now. Has an ability available. Looking to kill off reset. Does drop the orb in a second. No, not quite yet. There it might be. Low on health. Is reset, should be an auto attack, and there we go. SESE will go off there, and now Jungha and crew can work on killing the rest of this shrine.
Yeah, Mary, they moved in there, you know, looking to be the noble sacrifice to keep his team up. In worst case scenario, he dies, and so does the target that he tried to keep up there. Tychus falling. Now that is a full level lead, 5-1 when it comes to kills here in game number 5. Molten Core interrupted, Sake nowhere to run now for a couple of seconds. I mean, you know, a bit sloppy here for the early starts of MVP.
Now they're forced to deal with this. Punisher pushing in. They're going to drop the Molten Core. Jungha is in the bottom lane pushing in for now. Noblesse low on health. He is being tapped off for now, but Noblesse will eventually fall to Tisk as he works in the damage. Kyocha does work on the Punisher, so Sake and the rest of the team will defend the Punisher coming their way, but look at the experience lead from the minion waves that were grabbed by Dahaka in the bottom lane. 7-6, a 3/4 level lead for L5.
Yeah, and we see that flask build there for the Greymane. That is something that will build up and just do immense damage. It's very underestimated, or I guess, when it comes to this map, because it's so free to get value out of, right? It's like almost like a Kerrigan, where just the value on this map compared to every other is huge. The drag going to be attemptably dodged, or at least not up here. Jungha not attempting, but Sake survives. This is, man, a tense moment. Nacho Instance is out. Mary Day and friends not going to pursue anymore. Still, keep in mind, down 7 talents here. They are going to pick it up now, but still half level, 3/4 level difference. And also without that global, you know, the experience is going to be a very important thing here for MVP Black. That being said, they have an insane teamfight post-10. Like, that's kind of what they're waiting for, but they did risk a lot very early on in this game.
Oddly enough, I felt L5 could have been aggressive here in terms of the mercenary control on the right side with the Dahaka Brush Stalker with Dragnos being the top lane, and they just didn't do it. Instead, they waited for MVP Black to grab both camps, and now MVP Black has a spot where they can maybe get aggressive on their own opponents on here on the left side. Now, they've decided not to do so. They're going to push in the middle instead and work towards getting that experience gap closed by taking out some turrets and getting a little bit of that minion waves cleared up. Dahaka in the top lane seems to be the focus as Mary Day and Zeratul do move in.
Yeah, he's going to drive right on up there. The knockback is not even going to be attempted here for Mary Day. Bit of fear when it comes to the drag 7. They're the relentless soldier here for Tychus. It's going to help his survivability immensely, whether it be, you know, whether it be Dahaka or the Murden. Looking to initiate, it very much is going to be able to aid him in keeping himself up. 10 will be here very quickly for L5. You know, if they don't pick it before the shrine, they have Dahaka to be able to get that side soak. So MVP Black's in a very bad position. They either have to force or they've got to give this up. In worst case, losing Sake here means they are very much going to give this up until they get 10.
Very unfortunate for them. They're going to make a big play in the middle lane here. Push him in the start so they can move towards 10. They have to kill that 4th though to even get close in terms of experience. We should have a few members from L5 circling in, and they are. They brought Noblesse, they brought Sway. They're going to be moving in for the aggressive play. Reset will be able to get away, and the route does not connect, but they do deter MVP Black away from getting free experience. SC maybe getting a little too aggressive. Sway's going to come in.
Oh my goodness,
nice
that
boop.
interrupt. The boop to stop the Twilight Dream. I mean, that entire situation was all committed by Mary Day right there. He gave the mobility to be able to dodge, you know, using the Q to be able to not only get the interrupt there, but for the original disengage. Everything about that play, hats off to, you know, Mary Day on that Lucio. I said, you know, a bit more before, a little bit too much baiting coming out from him, but maybe he's pulled it back, toned it down a smidge here. But they do have 10, but keep in mind the 30 skeletal defenders. MVP Black's just looking for a moment to void. They want L5 to move away from the front wall, and the minute that happens, expect a heavy and solid initiation for them.
On the other side, L5 just hoping to clear out the shrine. They're 11 away.
Yeah, they're just needing to poke, but I don't think they're going to get it. It's all about Kyocha getting the initiation, but Noblesse has scouted that out. He hits the Storm Bolt.
Noblesse in the back right, though. He does get booped into the turret walls here. He's just trying to survive. Will pop Avatar.
That
Odin left.
My
SC
goodness.
moves in. No abilities available, though, for him to punish that Odin. Voidpit does come out. Sulfurious Smash does not connect. Jojen on the left side here working the Ozaltex. Greymane low on health, and our team is whiffle-waffling back and forth.
Yeah, whiffle-waffling is very much going to be the case that we see here, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that we see Sound Barrier and Void used at the same time. You do not want that to be happening. Also, Mary Day has just straight up said no to every Twilight Dream. This guy just, you know, he took what he learned from ETC and he's just channeling everything. And MVP Black here has the Punisher moving in for them. Everything working out. This is what we were talking about, the post-10 fight of MVP Black. But I'm sad. I'm sorry I said anything bad about this guy's Lucio, ever.
Hold on a second, though. SC does have resets available. Can he get one more here on Tisk? Tisk slow on HP on the right side. Mary Day is just dancing around. He is going off on Lucio.
Yeah, he very much is. And again, we're yet to be able to see a successful Twilight Dream. Whether or not he can hold that through the entire game, I'm going to say doubt it, but my goodness. It is, I am absolutely amazed now. That's 3-4 in a row interrupts?
I think it's been 3 Twilight Dreams that have not gone off because of Mary Day.
All right, so here's the next level play.
I'm ready for it.
Start Twilight Dream, you hit Ice Block, the boop comes out, you drop the Ice Block, Twilight Dream continues, and you just look at him and say, baited and outsmarted, right?
Hashtag schooled.
Yeah, get it. You know, but right now, Lucio is really going to be the MVP here, as we're just scooting and booting. No, I was
scooting and booting.
Yeah, that was a little too Wyoming for me. I apologize.
I like it though. Yeah, it gives me a mid whistle there. For a moment, I saw Dreadnought in overalls, but hang on, Void Prison here, big massive Void Prison. We're gonna have SCE in the back left. He's getting focused down. So Fear Smash comes out, and MVP Black. Ever since they've hit 10, they have yet to stop the scooting and booting.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm so sorry I even said it.
No, that's my vocabulary now. It's done. It's over.
All right. Either way, though, I mean, we see Dahaka with the side soak, the macro play being attempted here from L5, but, you know, MVP Black just is legitimately not caring even really kind of about the efficiency of their cooldowns. They just go, if we're initiating, as long as we're successful, we don't really care, you know. Sanctification was debatably, you know, needed, and then just Sulfura Smash, the Void, everything is just going to be thrown out here, and it's working out for now. This was a lot of what I was talking about when it came to this entire series is like, you know, L5, MVP Black. When MVP Black does commit to the team fight, they do seem like the superior team. They just need to be efficient with their decision making and on the same page, and it's going to be working out. That being said, though, I don't think anybody has really even gotten to experience a Lucio with this much, you know, influence over the Malfurion and that Twilight Dream.
When you think about it, do you really have to be careful with your heroic cooldowns when you kill a Li Ming or a Greymane against the opposing team? What's the Haka going to do at that point in a fight? It's effectively a 3v5.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It's, you're pretty much not going to do anything, you know? It's just, he maybe needing to commit a smidge earlier here. But for now, we got another Shrine Phase spawning. 16's not up yet here for MVP Black, but we do see Zeratul there. Kyocha looking for that side soak. Dahaka is kind of remaining up there as well, but as we know, you know, that's kind of what Zhongha does. He's questioning if he wants to move up.
Poke here and there. Zhongha.
16's going to be picked up before the Shrine.
Yep, 3-level lead talent advantage for MVP Black. They intend to get aggressive here. You already see Zeratul looting his way down. Scouting drone has been popped for now, will be cleared up by Tist. Zeratul on the left side, looting around, does see no Bless on the top.
I'm just trying to find the, you know, where they make the comeback here. With the 2-level disadvantage here, the opening of the map, and Heroics up 16 talents here. Things are ugly for L5. They could lose a keep here with this Punisher. Typically, Punishers aren't that effective, but when you have such a team fight-oriented composition like MVP Black has, and it's so easy, I mean, it's legitimately Zeratul presses R, and you are starting the fight every single time, that, you know, I cannot see L5 properly defending. They should be pushing top rather than staying on bottom. They are losing this fort 100%. And they are going to lose a minimum keep wall. So, you know, the fact that they aren't taking that top fort for free to be able to get up and experience shows that L5 not too comfortable with the area they found themselves here in Game 5.
Yeah, they're severely behind. The Haka doesn't even have a major pressure point he can even push here. Granted, that fort in the top right is something that you can look towards, but it's not something that MVP Black even cares about at this point in the game. So they're continuing the aggressive play down here in the bottom left, and suddenly L5 has to watch out for maybe that Ragnar's Molten Core as well. Tist on the right side, moving in, holy ground.
Ooh, that Void, not necessarily the Void you're really gonna want. They're gonna move over to the keep. It will be able to secure the keep, but keep in mind, you know, this keep would have gone down no matter what if that Void had hit 5 or even just more members than that to be able to get the initiation. So, not necessarily gonna be a misplay that gets punished, but not an optimal engagement here for MVP. They does net a keep here, 12 minutes into the game, number 5. L5 is looking for an answer. They will have 16 talents here soon, and that is going to be a window where I don't think they can risk failing at the next initiation.
Jungle this entire time, all he's done is take out that fort. He's got to half health. Zeratil's up there floating around. Think he's going to die? He might be able to brush talk away.
It's either that or you force a lot of cooldowns that you shouldn't. I guess the burrow is going to be enough, you know, to be able to retreat. But if burrow, for any reason, was used beforehand, even dropping your essence isn't something you want to be using at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Especially considering, you know, his actually essence level at 4. He didn't go off minions. He went for takedowns, which he has not been representative of a single team fight, I think, so far at all. You know, not really gaining anything there out of his level 4.
L5 down trades heavily there, only gaining half damage on the point in the top right. They've also lost Brush Stalker, so they can't even engage right now, even though they've hit 16, because they need Haka to come in on the rotation. But he still has, what, 15 seconds before a fight can even break out. MVP Black has put Zeratul in the top lane to continue pressure. Should be able to continue rotating around, having a concave set up in the middle lane. Shouldn't be able to lose any of these mercenaries, the one in bottom in particular. They can afford to give up, but wouldn't mind seeing them play aggressive.
Such a tense moment. L5, they can't fail. It's going to be scouted. Sake gets pressure. Holy Ground's going to be used. Boop thrown out there for Merryday.
Hoping to interrupt that jump. Doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Bless is jumping away, and you're right, it is very intense. Now you can feel
Zeratul's
it in
flanking.
the air.
Oh my gosh, L5 has to get out of here. Zeratul's going to flank it. There's no way they take this. Burrow has to happen right now. Look at that. There it is. Youngha goes in. He tries to get the drag. Can they net a kill? There's going to be the Void drop, and there's the Saint.
Void present on the left side, so Fierce Punch comes out. It will be Icebox. Sway gets pushed out, but Greymane taken out on the left side. SESC looking for an opportunity, but all members are fully healthy. Molten Core on the right side. It does get interrupted by the drag, but to what purpose?
Yeah.
Jongha focused down. Tist chasing Li Ming.
SESC there is going to be able to teleport there over the Holy Ground, but MVP Black wants to move into the core. No heroics available. Disintegrate going to be up here in 2 seconds. If a reset happens, it could be enough to turn it, but without that, I don't think they have a chance. Reset and MVP Black set their eyes to the core. Shield's going to be falling. Now sitting at 80%. Do they have it?
Dude, it's looking like it. Kyoto focusing down. Tis on the right side. SESC goes in for the blink. Kyoto does get reset on, but it should not be enough. MVP Black will take the series 3-2 and will be awarded a path to the grand finals.
Upsetting L5, the only team to be able to even take a series over L5 in months. A colossal amount of time. Since they were able to win Super League, they have not lost a series. And now MVP Black will be able to get this upset here, move on to the grand finals. But my goodness, how we got here is still by far the most interesting case I have ever experienced in a best of 5 in all of competitive Heroes of the Storm. And a lot of it just comes down to this macro play that made L5 so dominant within the region and famous, but then MVP Black just using their comfort in the battling of the team fighting, and L5 didn't have an answer. Every time that MVP Black got baited into taking a global, working the macro game, they didn't even look like the same team.
MVP Black took us through a hurricane of emotion, just throwing us left and right in terms of what we expected from them, but also L5 just constantly giving us a perplexing moment.
For the first time, we actually get a break in the chain of what we know through Korea and how things have worked, because I view this very much as like the Super League double elimination bracket, making it all the way through now that we have mainly Korean teams. That it isn't the team expected to win going to the grand finals and getting upset. It happens around before, but it's still, it's a difference because, who knows what? L5 could come back. They were waiting it out, maybe not showing everything here. Either way, though, they've got to battle their way through the losers bracket.
Yeah, in conclusion, let's talk about that. So now we have MVP Black as the grand finals. They will be the last series of the day no matter what. There are 3 possible teams that they could face off against. You have L5, who will be waiting the E-Star versus Tempest matchup. Now, obviously, that matchup is about to happen next, and then from there we go into the losers finals, and then it's a grand final. So L5, again, will have to have a chance to make their way back, and they may have downloaded some information from MVP Black. I think the one thing that you and I both talked about through this entire matchup is that we need more patience from L5. They've been known for it the entire time they played the last few months. So coming into this and allowing MVP to run and dictate the flow of game should not be a goal for them in the grand finals. But they still have to get through the losers bracket first.
L5 was crowned as the kings of rotations, and they very much seem like they are the responding team.
They became pawns.
Yeah.
No longer kings anymore.
No.
As they really just seem to be off of their game in that matchup. But again, it is just one of the series that they'll be playing in today. Later on, they can adjust. Here are the stats for the entire match. 3-2 will be the final score. And
I know we represented our MVP in the last series, but I'm going to drop it on Merryday. Personally, think that Merryday single-handedly with the impact that he had there on the Lucio and a lot of the team fights, but the early boops onto the Malfurion to interrupt the Twilight Dream was the reason they got that momentum in that game, and that was all they needed to have full control and dictate the pace of it. So I'm amazed. I went into this tournament expecting MVP to get the upset because that's history, and I thought that they were better the team, but not how they did it, and definitely not right here. So the question is, can they keep this up through the grand finals and be successful no matter who they're going up against? Because, you know, I think it's a toss-up between Tempest and E-Star, and then how is L5 going to deal with that, especially for, again, they have not lost since they won Super League. They have not lost to any team. So what is the mentality of L5? You know, even then, like with the interviews recently, SCSC has admitted, you know, the team got better when they said it's okay to lose. So like, is that going to help them here?
Does that empower them?
Or is that kind of, you know, just a little bit, it sounded good for a while and it did work, but they haven't experienced that in so long. I mean, it's got to be, it has to cripple you a little bit when it comes to mentality. Yeah,
it goes from stating, okay, we're all right to lose, and then you actually lose, and it's like, wow, this kind of feels awful.
Exactly. You're
Whose
like, guys,
fault was this?
No, it's fine. But then when you really, you know, you feel the final punch of the core falling, and you have no opportunity to be able to make it change the outcome, you know, of the game, it feels a lot worse than what you think it would at first. Yeah, it's, man.
We'll find out. We'll be right back. Our next match, E-Star versus Tempest, will shake out. We'll see you soon.
Snitch is the major threat here, constantly keeping eyes on all 5 members of Misfits. So now that they understand, okay, well, our opponents have eyes on us, let's just make some plays here. Here comes a Moncor leyline seal, big Bolton swing, so fear is smashed, members dying left and right. Splendor focused down, Nurak on the right too. Gargantuan stands as the only member here for the Misfits near the court. Nurak will eventually get swung on, but Dignitas cleans up that fight almost too easily.
Yeah.
If teammates stay spread out, they can be in a spot to win the game. Remember, Molten Core available.
Yeah, and it's poking away at Odin here, doing pretty significant damage here actually. And Dignitas, you know, they have a lack of resolve.
Oh my gosh, Glora goes in!
Jaina, Trixler, lack of Jaina.
Outstanding play from Glora.
Your destiny ends here.
Watching out to T, actually it was Nurak coming in, but either way, doesn't matter who's playing into Haka, Fnatic's able to take care of it.
Fighters popping straight to bring out the damage to deter anyone from moving in too far. Nurak will use it as a leash and be just fine, but here is Bloodlust. Chromie focusing down Nurak. He will be able to heal on up, but God, he can't even escape being slowed down. He jukes the duck. There's the drop.